Kevin McCarthy is desperate to be Speaker. We'll take a cold, hard look at the man setting Liz Cheney adrift and ignoring these two. Republican race war, the truth about our history that Mitch McConnell and others don't want taught. And if you're not vaxxed, renowned chef Jose Andres is here to talk about his plan to change that. I'm Jonathan Capehart, and this is The Sunday Show. This Sunday, the Republican Party is at war with itself. Congresswoman Liz Cheney awaits a vote on whether she should keep her position as the number 3 House Republican this week. Her descent is all but certain thanks to the final push from House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. Or should we say Speaker McCarthy? That's clearly the job he wants, and one he thinks he can get by purging his party of anyone who dares challenge Donald Trump, like Liz Cheney. McCarthy has been learning to ingratiate himself to the 45th president ever since Trump pet named him, and I quote, "My Kevin," on the eve of his inauguration, and since McCarthy figured out Trump's favorite Starburst flavors. You read that right. It's worked for him so far. McCarthy did allow some daylight between himself and Trump, albeit briefly, when the carefully coiffed Californian spoke his conscience about the January 6th attack on the Capitol.
The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding.
And that is true, but with his eyes firmly affixed on the speaker's gavel, McCarthy promptly gaslit his way back into Trump's good graces.
Do you believe that former President Trump provoked?
I don't believe he provoked if you listen to what he said at the rally.
Oh, really? Joining me now to discuss, Michael Steele, former RNC chair and host of the Michael Steele podcast, and Tara Palmieri, Politico Playbook co-author. Thank you both very much for coming to the Sunday Show. Chairman Steele, you were the chair of the Republican Party. You have known House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy for a long time. Who is this guy? What is motivating him? And maybe this is a leading question. Will he do anything to get that speaker's gavel?
Well, that's kind of been the knock on Kevin for quite a while within the caucus. And, you know, he's kind of like the last man standing for the positions that he's held, much to the frustration of a lot of Republicans in the caucus during that time. So, yeah, I mean, he's very ambitious and he's very calculating. As the sound bites you played showed. I mean, you know, he comes out on January 6th and says, yes, the president bears some responsibility. But then when he's asked about it later on, he goes, well, you know, he had nothing really to do with it, you know, as he said. So he figures out just where the line is and he gets right as close as he can to it without tipping the hand against him. In some sense, he's a lot like Donald Trump. It is all about him. And I think that's one of the things that have kind of rubbed folks in the caucus wrong.
But let me push you on this for a second, Chairman Steele, because we all know that, you know, he's treading a fine line. But loyalty with Donald Trump is not a 2-lane highway. It is a one-way street. So what makes Minority Leader McCarthy think that he can still walk this tightrope without tripping over his own feet?
Well, because largely what he's calculated is if he stays closer to on that line to Trump, that when the vote comes up, okay, have Trump help to win back the House next year. And Republicans have an advantage. Let's be honest about their position going into the 22 cycle in the House. They do have an advantage. So, you know, they win back the House. It's going to require Donald Trump to say who the next Speaker of the House will be coming out of the Republican caucus. And he wants the president to put that imprimatur on him, not someone else like a Jim Jordan or, you know, even Congressman Scalise. So what you're doing is you're seeing him doing his early blocking and tackling to position himself and to put others out of position relative to himself with Donald Trump.